In this video, I'm going to be talking about setting goals as a project manager in 2022. Hi, this is Latina, your project manager with Kinsman Point Consulting. I help project managers build healthy relationships with their projects and their teams, and I also help businesses get their projects finished. If this is of interest to you, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and please like, comment, share this video and others. And when you do subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos. Now, this is the month of December when I'm putting this out, 2021, and this is the perfect time to start talking about or thinking about goal setting. Now, I'm going to be talking about goal setting and giving a couple of examples, but I'm not going to give you a list of the best goals for a project manager because that's going to be different depending on where you are. And I'm not going to just talk about goals that are project management related. The goals that you set for yourself should be all around goals, not just necessarily career goals, but goals in other categories of your life. You're not just a project manager, right? You are a full person with things that you do outside of work, or outside of your business. So you want to think about your goals in a very holistic way. And I'm just going to give you some examples of what I do or what I have done and provide some assistance that hopefully can get you started on talking about or thinking about what your goals are. We're a little over halfway in the month of December right now at the time of this recording. So this is the perfect time to get it done between now and the end of the year. So one of the ways you want to think about your goals as habits. You want to develop a habit of doing something that's going to be of benefit to you in some way, shape, or form. Now, one of the ways to start thinking about your goals is to really just kind of sit down and reflect on what went well with you over the course of the previous year. What went well, what didn't go so well. Literally sit down and make a list. Now, I've got some props. So one of the things that I do and what I did this year, and it actually started a couple of years ago, is that I, throughout the year, I will write down on one of these little pieces of paper, I'll write down the date and the accomplishment that I achieved at that particular time. This was a building year for me, so I had a couple different things I had on my list of things that I accomplished. When I write down the date and time, here's my other prop. I put it in a jar here. I have a little mason jar that I keep in just a different part of the house, and every time I write something down and I date it, I fold a piece of paper up and I put it in here. At the end of the year, and I'm getting close to that, probably in the next couple of days, I'm gonna pretty much go through the items in this jar and reflect on them. And a lot of times when I start reflecting, I remember other things. So I have extra pieces of paper. So I may have more items in this jar by the time I'm done reflecting. And I take a moment to do that. I literally sit down and take some time to myself where it's just me and I do this. This is a great way to start. What this can do, this can result in you setting up your areas where you need to improve for the next year. Because as you start to think about what went well, what didn't, or if you've done something like this during the course of the year, you can look over that information. You start developing categories. Now, there's general categories for goal setting. A lot of times people say, when you goal set for the next year, you should set it in the areas of career, finance, relationships, spiritual. Well, you may not have to set goals in all those areas. You may not need to set a goal in an area where you're working quite well in at the time. You may want to set goals that are going to further you along in areas that you may not be doing so well in. Maybe that's finance, maybe that's career. So just to continue on with my props here, once I reflect here, what I also do, and again, this is something I've done probably over the past, I'll say 3 years, but what I do, and this also helps me to set goals for the next year, is that this is a journal that I created, and it's got a little placard here that just says thankful journal. It's yearly journal of all things awesome and favorable in life. And what I do, I'm just going to open up the first page and then I'll explain the rest. But I take those pieces of paper and I literally add them to this journal with the dates and times on them. I just randomly add them in here. It's something I can, and this is what I use to reflect back on for the previous year. So 2020's information is in here that I will reflect on. And this is 2021's like new stuff. So it gives me an opportunity to kind of see what I've accomplished and see what I've done. And then at the end of all of that, I do write like a end of year journal entry. I do journal. I don't journal every day. I do it when I feel it. I do have journals that I keep over time, but this is like an end of year type summary, if you will, of things that have happened. I've had a lot of churn in my life. A lot of things happen personally and career wise. So it's a great opportunity to just really sit and reflect. And I end up with a final journal entry for the year, and it's in this journal book. So, so to give you an example, I'll give you a very specific example of a goal that I had this year that I was able to achieve. One of my goals, and this is not a PM related goal. I'm gonna get to some examples of those in a second. One of my goals was to do yoga every day. Just take some time out in the mornings, and that become a part of my routine. I was able to achieve that. That was one of the goals I had, and I can say that I have been able to do that. So that's been a really awesome thing to have accomplished. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit about tips when you're thinking about your goals and achieving them and walking through them. But again, from that reflection, you get what you need to work on, and that maybe becomes your categories. Maybe you have a goal within your project management career to go, if you work for an employer, you may want to go from one job level to the next. So by the end of next year, or by the time you get to your next review, maybe you want to go from this point of as a project manager maybe to a senior project manager, let's just say. So a suggestion on how you can do that is look at the job description for where you want to go. And what you could do is take those job description bullet points, those responsibilities, and set those as goals for 2022. Just as an example, what that does is that it prevents you from having those canned goals that you see, like if you go out and Google goals for project managers, and that every project manager should have, right? Instead of having those, you have very specific goals that are related to a specific outcome. Again, if you're working for an employer and you're trying to get to the next job level, and it might not be, it could be senior project manager, it could be program manager, it could be portfolio manager. Whatever that is, whatever that job title is, look at the job description that's typically given within your company that you can get access to, and make those responsibilities goals. Now, everyone's heard of the old adage of SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. SMART goals. That particular formula works for any goal, right? Any goal at all. So, for example, let's use one of those canned project management goals. Like maybe your goal is to improve or improve team communication and collaboration on your projects. So a SMART goal for that would be that to improve team communication and collaboration, I will establish feedback sessions once a week. That is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, and it's time bound. All of that. So take another one. Take one that's not project management related. Eating healthy. You may set a goal that in order to achieve my goal of eating healthy, I am going to only eat sweets on the weekend. Okay? So that's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, realistic, and time bound. So you can measure that week to week how you're doing in that goal. So whatever goal that you set, create a statement around it. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned with the wanting to go from one level of job description to the next, using those responsibilities as goals, because it allows you to have very specific parameters within which to achieve the goal, the end goal. All right. So last piece here, a couple of tips while you're in the midst of achieving your goals. Build upon the goal, right? So, taking the eating healthy example, your first step might be to maybe only eat sweets on the weekends. Maybe in the next quarter, or maybe the next month, depending on how you want to track all of this, is to eliminate one fast food restaurant that you don't need to go to anymore. Okay, for 1 month. Again, we're developing, goals are habits, right? So we're developing a habit. If I develop the habit over the course of 30 or 60 days of only eating sweets or treating myself on the weekends to those sweets, and maybe replacing it during the week with some other things that are satisfying as well, maybe my next goal is removing out those fast food restaurants or one fast food restaurant that I'm not going to go to anymore. Okay, and then as you do that, again, you're developing habits over time. Again, the project management goal of improving team collaboration. Again, you may establish feedback sessions. Maybe another way you can improve team communication is once a quarter, you layer it on, once a quarter, maybe you have a team outing where you and your team do some sort of outing that is non-work related in order to develop that collaborative spirit, that collaborative nature. So build on your goals. Another tip, don't beat yourself up when you fall off. Notice I said when. We're humans, right? Things happen. You fall off of whatever cycle or routine that you're on. When you notice it, just step right back on and start back where you left off. Don't beat yourself up. And then log your progress. And you don't want to be too elaborate with logging your progress. Just, you can log it in your phone as a note. I still do, not as often. I have a note on my phone of, measurements. I would weigh myself every so often, or measure myself every so often as on my weight loss journey. So I would do that. That would just be a simple note on my phone, but I didn't do it every day. I did it, maybe at the end of the month or every other month. I wasn't elaborate with it. It was just a tracking of progress. Now, for your project management goals, you may want to set a bit of a cadence to that, right? So if your manager is aware that you have this goal of reaching the next level, whether it be a next job level, maybe you set a meeting cadence of once a month to talk about those goals, where you are in achieving those goals, or what other layers you want to add on in order to get to the next level of those goals that you've created from those job responsibilities from the position you're trying to get. So depending on what it is, you may want to be a little more formal. In other situations, you don't have to be as much, but more than anything, please don't beat yourself up when you feel like you've fallen off the wagon, or you feel like you're not achieving it as fast. Things take time. So the main point is to have a goal, make it specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, and keep marching towards it. All right. I hope this was helpful. Once again, this is Latina, your project manager with Kinsman Point Consulting. Please, if you let me know in the comments what you thought about this information, what you're doing at the end of this December to set goals. What are some of your tips and tricks? And let's talk about it in the comments. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.